It would have been hard to find anywhere less suited to its name than the Horton Hill Deluxe Country Hotel and Conference Centre. The place looked like a 1960s secondary modern school, award-winning design, and was located on an industrial estate on the southern edge of the Leeds Outer Ring Road. Tranquil surroundings within easy reach of the cosmopolitan capital of West Yorkshire. The weed-choked car park had potholes big enough to swallow a small child, and the whole place was heaving with men in suits and women in tight dresses and high heels, tottering round the sinkholes in the direction of what was obviously a wedding party massing at the dilapidated front entrance. Jesus wept. Kate cursed under her breath at the two SUVs taking up 3 parking spaces between them, resisted the urge to get out and move a Lambretta into the hedge, and narrowly missed being rammed by a people carrier full of bridesmaids swerving in a flash of fuchsia for the drop-off area outside the main entrance. This took away the option of pulling in, even for a couple of minutes, to unload the papers, books, flip chart, and suitcase piled on the back seat of her tiny black C1. "You have reached your destination," said the sat-nav for the 3rd time over the hiss of the aircon. But it was no good. The car park was full. 3 cars had arrived after her, and they were now blocking her in. Waving impatiently at them to reverse, how on earth could they not see that there was no room? Kate backed out of the car park entrance after them, and finally found a gap 30 car lengths away from the hotel, outside a boarded-up storage unit with razor-wire fencing. The prospect of still having wheels on the car in the morning was starting to look more and more remote. "At the first opportunity, turn round," said the sat-nav. "Well, you can shut up for a start." Kate jabbed the off switch and buried her head in her hands. How the hell was she going to manage a conference on traumatology for the 21st century, alongside a wedding party that looked like it had just stepped out of some Yorkshire version of The Only Way is Essex? She was hot. She was sweaty. She had the mother of all headaches. She was only holding the blasted conference here because the Northern members had moaned so much about the organisation being London-centric. And now here she was, on her own, in the back of Beyond with a carload of stuff to carry down the street and into that awful hovel of a hotel. Still, she hadn't got to be the youngest ever, heading up to 30 next birthday, organiser of the annual conference of the UK Institute of Trauma Therapists by giving up at the first hurdle. And, she told herself, it really was not necessary to fall prey to any of those random negative thoughts that were flashing into her mind right now. "Just stop right there," she said firmly to the thought that everything was going to be awful. "But it is," said the thought with conviction. "It doesn't have to be," said Kate, losing ground slightly. "It does. It's going to be a disaster," said the thought. Kate knew that if completely over-the-top words like disaster were starting to make an appearance, her anxiety levels were far too high for thought-stopping. She wondered if distraction might work better. She climbed out of the car and found her reflection looking wearily back at her from the side window. She'd seen a client first thing that morning and had finally managed to get away from London just before 11 o'clock. But there had been roadworks and an accident, and the journey had taken an hour longer than planned. At Leicester Forest East Services, where she'd stopped for a sandwich and coffee to try to override the afternoon drowsiness that was threatening to engulf her, she had splashed cold water on her face and tied back her hair. It looked limp now, reflecting, pretty accurately, how she was feeling. Her clothes appeared to have given up on her too. She tried to smooth the wrinkles out of the linen trousers she'd worn because she thought they'd be cool to travel in. Thankfully, she had a travel iron in her case. Kate liked to travel well prepared for eventualities such as these.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.